Hi, this is Charlie Mato-Toyela with Blue Bear Flutes. Of course, you know us from bluebearflutes.com and Blue Bear Arts all over the web. I think you'll see us everywhere from Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, to here, of course, on YouTube and so many other places in the world. What I'm talking to you about today is actually one of my favorite things. It's scales. I'm just kidding. Scales aren't really my favorite, but they're the backbone of any musical instrument. If you don't know how to play the scales and how to do what you can do with the instrument, then you're kind of twiddling around in the dark. This scale is the foremost, most important scale on a Native American flute. It is the minor pentatonic scale that 99% of Native American flutes are made in. Now, of course, I say Native American flutes, the ones that look like this, the quenas and quinachos and pan flutes and so many other ocarinas and different types of instruments that have been made, have adapted over the years, I believe, to play many different types of scales. This one that most everyone is familiar with these days, with a little block on the top and has usually 5 or 6 holes. Sometimes it has 4 holes. There's so many different types of flutes. It could be a drone flute like we make that might have some flutes on holes on one side and some holes on the other side, or no holes on the other side. I mean, it could be a number of different things, but the basic flute itself is what we're talking about today. Now, many of you have probably noticed that this is a 5-hole flute. There's 5 fingerings for playing. One thing that is very important for those of you who are accustomed to playing the modern 6-hole flute, that's the Native American flute that requires you to keep either a piece of leather or your finger covering this area most of the time. Now, some of you who've been playing for a while might say something like, you don't have to keep that covered most of the time. That's until you learn how to use it or you become more advanced or whatever. There's so many different things people say. FYI, please watch our video on the 6-hole Native American flutes. It might help you a little bit in that particular case, or at least give you some ideas that you may never have thought of before. Anyway, with regards to the 5-hole flute and that modern 6-hole flute, if you just pretend that there's a piece of leather tied right here where the blank area is, you'll see that the scales are the same. They're identical. When I play this flute, just like that one, with its piece of leather tied, it plays the same exact notes. Now, those of you who are accustomed to playing the modern 6-hole flute with this hole uncovered, so that let's pretend we're actually using that hole, there's a different scale that you can play, and it's not the mode 1 and mode 2 scale philosophy that I like to call it. This other scale is just basically the same notes we just played, but with the addition of one extra note. The one note that so many of you tell me you have to have that note to play Amazing Grace. Okay. Anyway, that note is actually achievable on the 5-hole flute. I've had other videos about this, but in this particular case, this video is specifically about the minor pentatonic scale, and that this instrument is made such a way. I want to make sure that I share with you the way to play that note there as well. So it's very simple. So simple. All you have to do is cover these 2 holes and it'll play the note for the fingering that's missing right there. What you have done, and this is something you can take and use so many different ways, what you have done is you flattened that note so that it plays the note right below it. You flattened it by covering the hole below it. And so in doing so, you just played that half-step note that is the one available on the modern 6-hole flute. So if you're playing the 5-hole flute, for example, like this, and you want to play the tablature for a modern 6-hole flute scale, 99% of the time, you're more than likely not going to ever see this hole here in the tablature changing. Most of the time, it's going to show that hole being covered up because it's not part of the minor pentatonic scale, and it doesn't really sound good when you play it unless you're playing some chromatic scale, which we'll talk about in another video. However, with this particular case, like I say, to play it, all you have to do, cover that up right there, and you can play the tablature for a modern 6-hole flute on the 5-hole flute. Simple stuff. The other thing that I want to talk to you about is the other couple of notes that you can play on most Native American flutes. The 5-hole flute is actually what I'm going to show you on. However, with the modern 6-hole flute, if you just follow the same pattern, keep that hole covered up, you can play these other couple of notes. So they're actually in the top range after you reach the top hole up here. So watch my fingerings. So very much still in the growing of the minor pentatonic scale. And I say growing because music since the beginning of time was made to evolve. Those of you who don't like that word for its religious connotations, pretend I'm not talking about religion or the evolution of man or animals or plants or anything science-wise. The way that music was created originally was created to grow and change and be added to, and so many different ways that people play not just this instrument but so many instruments. And in that growing cycle we find that things change and they adapt and they come along. That's why so many people, in my opinion, say that what I call modern 6-hole Native American flute is made to be mode 1 and mode 2, or that notes when you get advanced or anything like this. Is a growing and evolution of something. Evolution doesn't always go in a straight line. Sometimes it takes 2 steps forward and 3 steps back. But in the case of the minor pentatonic scale, or any scale, there are ideas of linear scale growth and equidistant note placements and other note placements and other scale growth. In the case of the flute, Native American flute here, if you hear me playing these notes and think, wow, those sound really good, I want to use those in my flute playing, they're actually just a shade out of the minor pentatonic scale. However, that's if you're thinking equal note spacing. So if you stop thinking equal note spacing, which some people could argue the point, without really good backing, that's what this note here's for, but actually it doesn't sound good, whereas my notes did sound good. I mean, it's kind of simple math. But anyway, I'm going to show you how to play those. It's attainable on just about every Native American flute, any that I've ever played, and you use about the same fingerings, except for in the case of like a 4-hole flute, you don't use the exact same fingerings. However, the notes are still present. We'll talk about that in other videos as well. So I'm going to show you really slow. All holes covered is the lowest note, and then you uncover them one at a time. Leave this one covered with something else. Put some tape on it if you have one of those 6-hole flutes that require that hole to be covered. If you bought it from us, it's not like that. Well, if you bought it from us in the last 30 years, I guess it's not like that. Anyway, so pretend that one doesn't exist. Uncover this hole and this hole. That's the whole scale from its root note of all holes covered to the octave of that note with all holes uncovered. Then, to play the next note in the scale, you uncover the top, cover the second one from the top, third and fourth, and uncover the bottom one. You blow a little bit faster, so listen to this. Easy to do. Something that sounds really good. So just a simple playing of that note there really can embellish and change your experience with the Native American flute. Easy enough to do. Like I say, pretend this is a hole, pretend it's covered. There's no hole there. Anyway, cover these 3 holes, leave the top one and bottom one uncovered, and then you're set. And that's that note. And of course, the next note is just partially covering, uncovering, or partially covering, glass is half empty or half full, either which way, the third one of these fingers that you have covered. So uncover this, uncover that. 1, 2, 3, partial cover. Easy stuff. So watch this. So once again, another note that is in the scale, something you might want to add to your repertoire. It sounds different in almost every Native American flute you play. It sounds a little different. You're thinking, wow, that sounds really good with this high D flute, and the medium flute's like, it's pretty cool. You know, low flute, you might be thinking, wow, where'd that come from? So anyway, so many different things you can do with this wonderful instrument. That scale, of course, is the minor pentatonic scale, the one that the Native American flute's really made to be played in. And I hope this has helped you out. This is, of course, a very basic video on a basic Native American flute scale playing. We have so many other videos available now to help you out with how to play and how to make the Native American flute. I hope it's helped you, and I hope that you enjoy playing the flute. If nothing else, you enjoy listening to it. Once again, this is Charlie Mato-Toyela signing out for BlueBearFlutes.com. You guys take care, have a great day, and happy flute playing.